And we are live. Troy Francis in London, James Tusk in Brazil. How's it going, man? How are you?
Yeah, good. It's gearing up. So this week coming is going to be obviously Carnival week. On the Friday it kicks off. You're going to be out here.
Yeah.
And Joe's here, a couple of other coaches, and we've got 10 clients. So it's going to be wild. Not for the faint of heart, I must say. It's you need about, after 2 weeks of Carnival, you need about 2 years recovery every time. So I still haven't caught my original Carnival I'm still recovering from. But it's phenomenal, man. I mean, the women are so hot. The weather's amazing. There's a very high gringo factor, which means if you're from outside of Brazil, they're very culturally curious. The women are very into banging foreigners. If they're going to have sex with a number of guys this week, they want at least one of those lucky sausages to be a foreign man. So women get, and Brazilians know how to party anyway. They're quite feral, and once they get a bit of alcohol down them, and they're in the sun, and they've got this kind of group effect. I mean, fucking hell, it's insanely good. So I'm excited to have you out, to host you out here and show you what's up.
Absolutely. So no, looking forward to it. So basically, so we're going to do a webinar today. We're going to be on for about half an hour. We're going to talk about correct mindsets for Daygame and dating in general. And this is really part of this free 12-day approach course that we're running for a bunch of guys who are in a private Telegram group. Now, the course started. We're a few days in. We did the first webinar last week, but I'll put the link in the chat. Actually, I'll put it on the screen. If you do still want to join, you can come in, but we're going to close this link tomorrow. All right, tomorrow evening, probably UK time, but sometime in the evening we're going to close this link. But if you do want to join us, it's a free course. Which is a private Telegram group. We're putting loads of advice and different bits of information and stuff in there, giving you daily challenges. If you do want to join, it's not too late. I mean, you've missed a few days, but it's there's still going to be a decent amount to go. So I would encourage
you. Really, there's no excuse not to join, guys. Look, if you're like a number of our viewers, you resonate with what me and Troy are about in terms of the content, you resonate with the message, but the reality is you've just watched content for a long time. You haven't actually gone out there and converted it into speaking to and getting comfortable with hot women, which is really the end goal, right? To end up inside hot girls. That's it, right? If you haven't been doing that, you have no excuse now, because usually the excuse we get is, oh yeah, but I like all your free content and I'm not going to pay for coaching because I can't afford it, or money better elsewhere on a browser subscription. But the reality is this is fucking free. So if you watched our content, you resonate with us, but you just need a bit of a kickstart boost, this is the group, right? We've got a Telegram group. We're motivating you to get out there. We're giving you gamified approach tasks. We're passionate about getting guys social, because we both know from ourselves personally, not just leveling up and getting laid, but from both of our personal lives, historically, when we've been in dark spots, the best way to get out of a dark spot is you can't overthink it. You can't think your way out of it. Get out of the fucking house, talk to some people, and suddenly you realize, actually, you know what? Like, great example. I was feeling a bit down today when I woke up, self-inflicted, of course, short-term dopamine-seeking activities. But I walk out the house, I'm thinking, fuck, I feel a bit anxious. There's no way I want to go outside and show my face to the world. Get out there, bit of sun on the skin, start walking. Suddenly, I'm not in my own head. And then I suddenly, strike up a conversation with a couple of people, and I'm smiling. And then I look around, I kind of see a couple of people on the street missing legs. I'm like, hold on, James, you're being a bit of a narcissist here. Life isn't actually that bad. It doesn't all revolve around you. So often, Torero famously said this, and I completely agree with him. Daygame, or fuck the terminology, as you would say, being social with other human beings as a mindset is a therapy, right? It's a mental health therapy.
Yes.
So it prevents you from sinking low into depression. It stops you ruminating and overthinking. One of the great curses of human beings is our ability to overthink. Either most of the time, we're never present. We're stuck in the past, worrying about things we can't change, or we're worrying like these weird Mystic Meg characters trying to predict the future. It's a cause for a lot of stress. Daygame, or being social, it brings you present, right? When you're speaking to people, you're present. You're not in your own head. And, I know Torero ended, ironically, in a sticky situation with him, but the amount of times actually just walking out of the house and talking to people has really probably saved me from quite dark places is astronomical.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yes, you need to learn the skill set of flirting and seduction. It is a learned skill. It's a game of psychology. It's a game of repetition. It's one of the most important skill sets you can learn as a man, especially if you don't want to go near fucking online dating, Sartain style fake model crews and all of this bollocks, right? If you want to go old school, you want to put the smartphone away, which I'm very keen still to do because I believe it's the next big health crisis, mental health crisis. There's no way out of just getting out the house and speaking to people, right? And you will get better. You desensitize through repetition, and it becomes easier. And you realize women want to be approached, and this is a learned skill. And you can learn to flirt, and you can learn to, summon the courage to approach a couple of girls, and you can learn to deal with rejection because actually it's the fear of rejection, not the rejection itself that's bad, right? So all of these things they're a stack habit, a bit like going to the gym. There's so many benefits from just being a social motherfucker, and you happen to be a very social motherfucker a lot of the time with attractive women. There is really no downside, Jim, and it's fucking free. We're coaching on this for fucking free. So if you can't finally pull your dick out your hand and take some action, I mean, you've really kind of lost cause time, isn't it?
It really is. It really is. So we've done one private webinar on Zoom, and probably the next one will probably be on Zoom as well, because really this is really just for the people who are should be just for the people who are in the group, but we thought we'd put this one out to spread the word and just give a bit of free value away to others. But you should basically just join. I mean, I'll put the link in the description, the links in the chat. Just go on there, fill in your details. It takes 2 seconds, and then we'll let you in the group.
It's a free Telegram group. That's how it's all delivered. Myself, Troy Les, moderating questions, giving you tasks to do each day, getting out there, being social. And Mark Manson spoke about this, but passion stems from action. So we're not passionate about something and we don't want to do it. But when you start taking action, so you walk out the house 10 days in a row, speak to 3 or 4 hot girls, suddenly you're getting a feeling like, oh, this is quite cool. I quite like this, right? And you start feeling good. So it builds on itself, right? And we understand that first 10 days, if you can just go out there, speak to a couple of women a day and go around your day being social, self-amusing, playful, which is the base of all of this stuff, self-amusement and playfulness, which I'm not being a tool as I rant at you with my wagging finger, my hungover eyes. It's just a better way to live. You feel better. You bring value to the ecosystem you're in, people around you. You're present. You're out of your head.
Yes.
You're not worrying about bullshit.
Yeah, you don't literally have to be out of your head. It's not like you have to do crack or anything like that beforehand. But
it gets you out of your head. Yeah.
Yeah. So we were going to talk sort of a bit about some of the mindsets. We did actually cover a bit of this when I was chatting to Les the other day on the private one we did on Zoom. But I mean, what would you say some of the key mindsets that really helped you in terms of this day game skill set have been?
Well, I guess it comes with repetition, but being zero fucks given, not caring about rejection or even embracing rejection, I think is super important, because when we get into this, we've got this kind of fragile ego we think we have to protect. Yeah. But the reality is most women are not interested in you, and that's okay. And there's reasons beyond your control on that. And that's the whole premise of stoicism. Control what you can control, forget the rest. Really, all you can do is walk up to the girl, say hello, and start a conversation. She's either going to want to have the conversation or not. And a lot of the time, she's just not sexually available. She's with a guy, or she's on OnlyFans getting porked by 1,000 blokes in an hour, or you look like her ex-boyfriend, or she's just been dumped, or she's in a bad mood. She just doesn't want to have a conversation. But we realize how soft we are as men when that rocks our world. So I think the key mindset is just toughing yourself up to realizing most women aren't going to be into you, and leaning into rejection, having fun with it, not take it personally. How can you see it as a challenge? How quickly can I be unaffected by her saying, no, I'm not interested, right? Because when I first started, it rocked my world for like half a day. Be like, no. And now it's just gives a shit, right? So that's a key thing. Self-amusement, having fun, I think is a key thing as well. Gamifying it however you can. These are key things for me. And also just having the balls to put it on the line. If you're not used to being direct with women and getting what you want in life, which most of us aren't, we grow up very soft. Then you have to start being direct. Hey, I just saw you. I thought you looked great. And you're having a conversation on the premise and on the basis of that. That's so important, right? Because a lot of guys, this Terrera again would say, used to hiding their intent, hiding their dick, right? What do they really want? The girl doesn't know. And so you almost have to say you look hot as a framework to man yourself up. Because you want to, because you got to set that context first for the conversation, haven't you? Because otherwise, you get guys who go in and they kind of, I don't think this is quite what Todd meant by snake seduction, but they kind of like snake they were in. They're like, oh, can you tell me? Oh, I'm really interested in.
I mean, it's fine to ask for directions and things as a warm up, but when you're really getting into this stuff, like you say, you need to put it on the line. And even if you don't verbally say it, like even say you're in a shop and the woman was working and her boss is next to her. This happened to me once. It's got to at least be very strongly implied. She's got to get it on a gut level that you're hitting on. And a lot of that comes through eye contact and stuff as well, actually. But the point is, like you said, it's really all down to being vulnerable enough to put it on the line and potentially get rejected and to be okay with that.
Something that helped me a lot in recent times, and we've been going back to this, but this idea of amused mastery or amused dominance or amused superiority. You're the adult masculine, and she's like a little girl making noise, like an 8-year-old niece, right? So you don't really take her seriously, not in a condescending way, in a loving way. So treating all women like that, for a lot of men, that takes the pressure off because they're automatically ignoring their beauty, and they're not really taking them seriously. And women can pick up on this energy, like, fuck, he doesn't really take me seriously. Fuck, I love it. I'm so used to guys kissing my toes because of how I look. Fuck, this guy doesn't give a shit about my looks. So quite a good frame you can have is, this kind of, you're the adult masculine and she's like this 8-year-old girl making noise. You just don't really take it seriously. And if you can actually start just being aware of that frame and implementing it, you can act like a boss around extremely hot women and completely unflustered, right? And it's taking sexualization out of it a bit, away a little bit. But for a lot of guys, I think, who are completely overawed by beauty and worship women just because of how they look, it's a clever frame to use most of the time. And it's definitely helped me when I've been a bit anxious or hungover and gone into an event where there's loads of hot girls. Having that frame of like, I'm the adult masculine here, I'm the immovable rock, she's the childlike feminine, little girl making noise like an 8-year-old, right? I'm just not taking it seriously. And so it's quite, she can just pick up on the energy. And she doesn't know why I'm acting like that or how I'm so chilled, but she sees everyone else around flustered by the looks and all this stuff. And I'm just like, whatever. But so that is a good frame, kind of that adult masculine or adult amused dominance, amused mastery, you call it.
Yeah, indeed. And I think it, like you were saying about sort of flipping the script. I mean, another, I suppose, aspect of it is, well, it's basically not putting them on a pedestal, but also not thinking that you're below them, because just because she might be very beautiful and she's 25 and she's 24, 20, whatever, and she's at the peak of her physical beauty and and all of that, you can't go in there thinking on any level that you are of lower value than her, even if objectively, like, you might not be as good looking as her. Okay, well, so what? But you've probably got more experience, you've probably got more knowledge, maybe you've traveled more, maybe you've done, there's going to be, so you've got to go in there, because women will sleep with guys who are on an equal level, but mostly who they believe to be on a higher level than that. So if you go in presenting as, and this does come back to mindset, it's really all about how you think about yourself. If you go in presenting as being on a lower level than her, then it's going to be game over before you even started, really.
100% agree. I think this is where guys don't really understand the evolutionary side. Like women, like evolution, right? Survival of the fittest, right? Women are hypergamous. Well, and men, we're looking for the best deal, right? Women get hard rap for this, but the reality is we want the best deal as well. Like if I'm 70, am I going to really want my bint of a fucking 70-year-old wife, or I'm going to want some fucking 23-year-old smoke show Ukrainian sucking my dick? I mean, it's quite obvious, right? And so men are the same. Women are the same. They're always looking for the best possible match, right? You've got to treat your own sperm like gold dust. You've got to be thinking, your mindset has to be, and it's a fake it till you make it thing, but you've got to completely overcompensate narcissistically. And you've got to be like, I am the shit, right? I am way better than her. And I will go down the street sometimes when I arrive to a new country and I'm a bit nervous, right? Because I'm on my own, I'm in my own head, I'm jet lagged, whatever. Yeah. I will walk down the street kind of telling myself, I am fucking better looking than all these women. I'm in my prime as a man. I've got more money. I live a cooler lifestyle. She literally offers me nothing, right? And it's kind of a self-brainwashing, but you have to believe that, because most men come from backgrounds of having limited self-belief, completely pedestalizing women, desperate to get laid. Women can sense this shit a mile off, right? You have to flip out his head, and you have to genuinely believe you're better than the girl. You have to. She is lucky to even be speaking to you. Your time, your energy, your attention, as Hormozy would say, your most finite, valuable resources. It is a gift that you're giving her any attention. If she gets to fuck you, that's a fucking gift, right? That is the mindset. You've got to have the mindset. You've got 5 smoke show models in your bed at all times. That's how you should be texting when you text the girl back. Yeah, that's how you should be interacting with the girl, and it's an absolute method acting Daniel Day-Lewis performance to begin with, because I can guarantee you the life situation of most of these guys is not going to reflect that. But it doesn't matter. State of mind, right? Artiste 101. whatever your station in life, you have to walk it like you're a fucking rock star, right? And we are. You're 1 in 400 trillion. I don't give a fuck what your life situation is. You can improve that, but you have to start with self-belief that you're actually worth something, because that's what women purely pick up on how you see yourself. That bizarre thing is the internal energy you carry is exactly what women pick up on.
Yeah, exactly. So, and, you know, and I've told the story many times about, you know, some mindset shift that occurred with me in my late teens, early 20s, when I suddenly went from being very self-deprecating and walking around, even though secretly in my head I was a bit arrogant, but I was also quite socially shy and awkward and stuff like that. And so I would go around and be quite self-deprecating, and obviously if there was any women, it would be I'd pedestalize them and all that kind of stuff. And I just completely flipped the script. Almost just as an experiment. It'd be like, well, what if I just walked around like the clubs and things I was going to at the time, like I was the fucking boss instead? And even if it's ridiculous, I'm just going to try it and see how people react. And actually, what happened? Some people thought I was a wanker, but a lot of people sort of bought into it, and significantly, a lot of women bought into it. So again, you know, there is an element of fake it till you make it at the start. Or there might be an element of having to fake it till you make it, but it becomes your reality after a while. It just becomes your default way of presenting.
I remember when I was getting into this stuff, and I was 27. I'd come off a pretty bad breakup. I felt very low and blah blah blah, and I was like, fuck, I never want to feel this helpless again. So I got into Daygame, and the first real, I mean, I slept with a few girls, but the first real win I remember was when I slept with an extremely hot woman. She was in London, Miss Club Poland, whatever that means. But she was the kind of woman where every time I saw her for a couple of months, I would be like, wow, fuck, and I'd have to almost reset. I'd walk into a venue and it'd be the kind of beauty where men all jaws drop and women are all like that fucking hoe, obviously. Yeah. And I was actually playing game because as a good looking guy, usually what most men do is they'll just take what they can get. But I was genuinely like, fuck, she's actually younger and hotter than me. She's actually ticking the box, you know, for that, you know, again, the Torero. Are you actually running game, or is the game? You? And that was very much a case of I didn't know what I was doing in the Daygame stuff, but I just kind of had this weird self-belief it was going to work, and it worked out. But I mean, and that was a reference point for them to be like, right, that's my new standard of girl I can get. So you know, I used to, it sounds ridiculous, but I used to have a fucking, even when we broke up, I had a photo of her, not to wank to, but on my phone, just to kind of be like, if I was trying to drop and take the low hanging fruit, I was like, no, fuck it, I'm going to go for this type of girl, right? And it does help. You might as well shoot your shot for the top tier. We see a lot of guys go out on the street and they'll kind of like play it safe, going for these kind of sixes. And it's like, hold on, man. Like, if you're out on the street and you're going to get rejected anyway, why don't you go for the smoke shows? Like, what's the harm in going for the top tier? Because that's really your assessment value, isn't it? I think guys that are going for the sixes, they see themselves as six. Yes. And so if you want to level up and overcompensate, start going for the hottest ones, even if they laugh you out the room to begin with. Because eventually you might get lucky and you'll gain a good reference experience, and then suddenly your paradigm shifts to actually, you know what, maybe I am worthy of that. You know?
And then you start to, and then, you know, generally speaking, if you stick at it, what's going to happen is you're going to get some, you know, you're also going to get some wins, you're going to get some lucky breaks and things like that. And then it builds on itself.
Better. You actually get better as a skill set about, you know, flirting with women and meeting women.
And you know, I mean, this is very much about approaching and Daygame and stuff, really. But I mean, just as a side to that, obviously self-improvement has to be a massive part of this. And with other courses that we taught, like the Edge, for example, I mean, a lot more of it is actually about the self-improvement side, because so what generally happens if you come into this and you haven't had much success, there might be a couple of reasons for it. It might be because your social flirting skills aren't very good, but it also might be because your value's not very high. So what we want to do is increase both of them at the same time. So you do need to be obviously going to the gym, you know, working in a career, you know, having an interesting life, reading, you know, books, you know, improving yourself all the time. But if you do that, but you don't get the flirting skills, then you're still going to be the guy standing in the corner with his dick in his hand, not you know. So you need to learn both.
Well, it's a three-pronged thing. It's completely overcompensate narcissistically to the point of a joke. To flip your mindset from I'm a joke to I am literally a god amongst men. Yeah. Overcompensation without any actual backing. Trick your subconscious into it. And go out, develop the skill set of flirting and seduction, which is a learnable skill. And then level up your life to the point where you're like a video game. You actually have got a fuck ton of value. And when you line all three of those up, which very rarely do people do, but when they actually do, you actually become the guy that can get most women.
Yeah,
you can do 3.
And I think there's a sort of there's almost a like visualization aspect to it as well in a funny way, because if you do think of yourself, if you do start walking around and just flipping your normal mental script and just walking around thinking, yeah, I'm the shit, you do tend to start leveling up anyway naturally, I think, because you do almost sort of become, or you start to become that guy that you were sort of pretending to be in the first place. And by the way, we're never saying pretend to be someone else. It's got to be you, but it's got to be the best version of you. But again, the key point though is it's regardless of your current circumstances, you've got to walk around owning it as if you are God's gift, you know.
And that this article written by Chateau Harty stated mine sums it up perfectly. So click on the link below, join the tally group, because this is the kind of information we put on the group, guys. It's like the reality of what it takes to actually get. Fuck like giving you this fucking rainbows and butterflies bollocks like all the American marketing. Oh yeah, buy a course and get 3 supermodels into bed. You fucking won't, right? Unfortunately, we're broke motherfuckers because the message we preach is extremely unsexy, going, right, you have to fake it till you make it and do a fuck ton of work. But that's the reality of what it takes to be speaking with the top tier women, right? Yeah. You can't trick evolution. You can't outwork the universe. You actually have to become the guy. So click on the tally group, and I'm going to post after this call with Troy's finished a link to the Chateau Hartiste article, State of Mind, but it encapsulates perfectly how you should be operating, right? Which is, even if you're a dustbin man, essentially, walk through life like you're a fucking god. You've got to start seeing yourself as a god. And you know, it's helped me, like, just pretending, right? Life is a stage and we're all actors playing our parts, as Shakespeare said. Just for periods of, you don't have to do it on your own, but for periods of time, like when Troy said, when you hit the club or when you hit the street, just act like the most confident version of yourself, just as a joke, pretend like you're method acting, and just see how you do. And then the more you do that, the easier it becomes to step into that frame. And why wouldn't you step into that frame of being the most confident, charming, charismatic version of yourself? Who are you helping by not doing that? Who are you helping by sitting in the corner looking nervously around the club with? Like, who's that helping? It's not helping you. It's not helping people around you trying to have a good time. So you might as well fake it till you make it to a degree until you're actually, you know, feeling a bit better about your life situation, right? From leveling up in other areas. Yeah,
I think you can also sort of put bet on your future self a little bit as well, because you probably know some inside of you. You probably know that you could be in better shape. You probably know that you could make more money. You probably know that you could do these things. So you know what the potential is. Now, the fact that you haven't reached it yet. Okay, fine. Well, it's like, you know, just go around and act as if already, because you already know probably in your head that you could be 10, you know, you could 10x however good you are on all these metrics over a period of time. We'll just start acting as if you've already done that when you go out, and believing it. And that really, really helps.
100%. And as old Michelangelo said, great quote from him, you know, the greatest danger for most of us is not that our aim is too hard and we miss it, but that our aim is too low and we reach it. Mm-hmm. So the greatest danger for most of us is not that our aim is too hard and we miss it, but we set the aim way too low and we reach it. Mm-hmm. Gene Simmons, lead singer of Kiss, in his Black Book with Sleeping with 10,000 Women, he said life is way too short not to have delusional notions of confidence about oneself. He will walk into a room, he says, and know he's the ugliest man in the room, but know he can walk out with anyone's girlfriend. Now, whether or not, he said he started doing that before he became a rock star. So you might as well believe, right? You might as well fucking believe, because time's going to pass anyway. And you can say, oh, I'm a loser, and reinforce that belief with negative self-talk. And lo and behold, you're going to stay a loser. Or you can try something different.
Yeah.
You know, women smell how you feel about yourself, right? So you need to start tricking yourselves into believing you're really confident motherfuckers, even if you don't have much to be confident about, right? And then we can work on the other stuff behind the scenes, learning to fight, getting your blood sorted, right? Having your testosterone optimized, which is a massive thing for guys over 30, getting in good shape, dressing well, learning social skills. These are all skills you can work on, things to level up in, which are going to improve your confidence. But in the meantime, you've got to start believing you are fucking worth something. Because if you don't, you're fucked from the inside out. Exactly. And I know guys who have all the pieces there. They are good looking. They are jacked. They are in good shape. They've got good blood work. They've got interesting jobs. They lead interesting lives, but they've got zero self-confidence because they don't know how to flirt. And they're scared of women, basically. And you know what? They suck with women.
Yeah. So and it's really weird. it's really weird because people would think, well, you've got all the boxes ticked, so you're just naturally going to do well. But it's really not like that. It's like you've got to know how to market yourself as well, and that really
you need edge, you need Riz, right? You need that je ne sais quoi, that kind of spark in the eye, that cheeky dark triad. I'm full of shit, but I'm going to take you on a ride anyway. Energy and look, and it's one look, and the girl goes, "Yeah, I'm going to fuck him."
Because sometimes, I mean, it's like energy is communicable, isn't it? And people can pick it.
It's the biggest thing. Everyone's vibe and energy is whether they realize it or not, the biggest thing that anyone else picks up on.
Yeah,
really, especially women. Very intuitive, right? They're very much in touch with their animalistic side. They're in their body, as men were in our heads. Women feel their way through life. A woman feels your vibe about the vibe you're putting out and feels how you feel about yourself. And she has to, because she can't have dud sperm. It's evolution. That's why women are so intuitive and so able to pick up on people's vibes.
Yeah. So if you could walk up to her, particularly if she's really hot, really attractive, like your boss, then I mean you can override that, even if objectively, even if it's like you're she is better looking than you, whatever. But if you walk up to her and you're like, and you just give it some real confidence, and she can sense that in you, then that's immediately going to make her more attracted to you. And this is why this social skills, cold approach stuff is so important, because you get so many more brownie points still today in 2025 from walking up to somebody in public and introducing yourself than you do swiping on a fucking dating app. Do you know what I mean? That's 100%. Why everybody whoever does this says they get far better results in terms of quality and probably quantity, but certainly quality through doing this in real life stuff rather than the dating apps. Because you can't really, a few photos, you can't really you can't feel your vibe. You can't feel the confidence of being able to do it, which a lot of guys can't, most guys can't. Again, makes you more attractive, right?
And also you feel good. You feel like a boss. You feel, when I was getting really competent at cold approach, I finally felt like I should feel like this is how life should be. I can roll up to any woman. I can create attraction. It's kind of in line with how I see myself as my ideal self. Yeah. Like, how can you possibly really respect someone, i.e. people watching, if you can't say hello to a woman sober in the daytime? I mean, it's hard to build. So you've got to start somewhere. You've got to realize it's a scary skill set to begin. Myself and Troy have been doing this combined for about 25 years. So we've got a lot of experience to help you. We are giving out free tips to do it in the Telegram chat. Click below on the tally link and join us. Yes, absolutely. Should we just have a look if there's a few questions? Sure. To the end. What keeps your passion for games? Some guys say they lose the drive after 200 count. Is it libido and acceptance of our nature, or deeper drive? Well, I mean, I think it probably goes up and down through your life. I think there is some truth in the libido thing, although if you work with somebody on your hormones, you can sort of counteract that to some degree. And obviously, we would get into relationships. I've been in a relationship. I've been sort of off the market for a period of time. But I think for me, the truth of the matter is I've always just had that fascination with social dynamics. I've always really, really had this just fascination with human psychology and social dynamics. And I think that's probably more than anything. I think that's what's kept me, well, certainly interested in the subject matter anyway. Nothing to add to that. Fair enough. I can't read these. Mindset is really important. I remember Brooding C talking about Broody. I remember Brooding C talking about replacing the vibe and state mindset with more functional beliefs. Massively helped me. Okay, I'm not sure what he exactly said, but cool. Broody. People talk about Broody. Will the dating game get more and more competitive until people choose dating for the most part and humanity goes extinct? Well, I don't know about that, but I think it is going to become harder, yeah. Because the technology is only going to increase exponentially, and the technology, unfortunately, doesn't work very well for most men. I mean, look, of course, there are guys out there who are crushing it on Tinder, for various reasons. Maybe that, because of the way they look, or they're in that top, percentile, or they live in a place that's particularly favourable. I would certainly do better on a dating app in certain countries than I might do in London, or
or the US. But in general, most of the guys we get coming to us have tried the dating apps ad infinitum and have had very, very poor results. So, and the dating apps are going to be, it's all only going to become more sophisticated, Instagram, stuff like that. I mean, we can't even imagine what's coming up in the next 5 or 10 years. But yeah, I think it is just going to get more difficult, to be honest. Whether humanity is going to die off, I'm not quite sure. I'm not quite sure it's going to be that severe. But because I think people are always naturally, in the end, they're going to want to get together and have kids and stuff. So yeah, I don't know. Anything to add?
To that one, yeah, it's very competitive. But again, this is a way to stand out. Most guys online are not getting laid. Unless you're in the top 0.01% of guys online who are getting laid like rock stars, you're not getting laid. It's that simple. So again, this makes it ever more important to be able to approach in person. You're going to have to actually learn how to flirt at some stage, because even if you pipeline loads of dates from Instagram, you still have to actually be a flirty, cool, fun guy to seduce when you meet her, right? So there's no avoidance of actually leveling up with this stuff. You have to do it. And the more you avoid it, the worse it becomes.
Indeed. What are your thoughts on TRT? Yeah, I mean, that's
is getting on it as you get older. I mean, it's unbelievable. He doesn't know I'm juiced up to gills with all sorts. I haven't been for about 3 years, but fine. Yeah. I want to.
I mean, yeah, I think it's something every guy should look into, particularly as you start to get a bit older, for sure. But that's a whole other topic, really. So probably not want much more to add. How to keep the anxiety at bay when in a new city that isn't that touristy, mostly locals, feels a bit out of place approaching.
Get out the house and start doing reps. There's no way around it, man. You're going to feel a bit weird. It's just evolution. Again, you're in a new place, new sight, new sounds, new smells. It's just a bit anxiety inducing, but walk out the house, take the action, realize you're not dictated by your emotions. Women and children operate from feelings. Men operate from values. Your value is to go. One of your values is to go out there, be a sociable guy, put it on the line. Doesn't matter how you feel. Just walk out the house, start being social.
Yeah. Trying to level up in all these areas. I'm a teacher, so the pay's not great. How to find something that pays well and enjoy, ideally allows employees to work from abroad. I'm not sure, really. I mean, there's so many guys that we teach, and they're not dating coaches. People think, it's different for you guys because you're dating coaches. But there's so many different professions that you can look into. But I mean, I don't know, really. I mean, you could start your own thing, which isn't always necessarily easy, but that's an option. I don't know, really. I mean, it's a careers advice question, isn't it? And I don't really.
I mean, we're both basically unemployed by modern standards, so we're not the people to be asking for careers. We formed something out of the base of being passionate about and enjoying helping others and having enjoyment for the subject matter, and we're examples of guys that have made that work to a degree. So I guess the key thing is you have to be passionate about it, you have to be good at it, and there has to be a demand for it in the market. When those three things overlap, you can create something. If they don't, you might struggle.
Is it worth going to bars? A couple of questions about night game here. Is it worth going to bars? I was never in one. You should probably visit one once in your life.
You've never been to a bar? Fucking hell, who are these people watching?
Do you think night game is easier than dating skills? Usually moving into. So there's a couple of sort of night game related things there, and we're in Brazil next week, or he's touched it already. I'm going over next week. We're going to be teaching a blend of daytime stuff and nighttime stuff. Is it easier? It's not necessarily. It's more socially acceptable.
It's easy to get laid one night stands.
Yeah. It's a little bit. What you don't have to overcome is the sort of there's less of overcoming the social unusualness of doing an approach in the nighttime, because everyone knows, girls go out and they know they're probably going to get hit on if they go to a club or something. It's just part of a bar. I mean, that's been happening for thousands of years, or hundreds of years anyway. How long they have bars for? But is it easier? Not necessarily, because her shields may be up higher. Okay, and because if you're the fifth drunk bloke in the club who's come up to her, and there's just a lot of stuff to deal with at night. There's her friends, people cop blocking, other dudes, stuff like that. I wouldn't say I wouldn't say it's easier, but like James said, you can certainly make things happen more quickly at night if you're in the right place at the right time. Well, I would personally, depending on how old you are and what your inclinations are, I'd probably do a little bit of both, to be honest.
Yes, we're going to be doing a bit of both in Rio. For guys as well that want to actually join us and start leveling up, Myself and Troy are going to be in Colombia in April, in Bogota, running a boot camp there, day game and night game, and Mexico City, Guadalajara, also in April. So get in touch, info@jamestuss.com or troy@realtroyfrancis.com if you'd like to join these places. They're very good.
Yeah.
But also click on the link below and join the Telegram group because we'll announce all this stuff in there. I think the last question was, which is actually relevant. What is the amount, as a rule of thumb, how many approaches a week should you aim to do? So the minimum 20, right? 20 approaches on girls you don't know you find attractive is the key number. But on top of that, it works out around 3 a day. If you just take your walk for an hour every day, which I recommend, get your steps in, go for a walk, either at lunch, 12 till 2 in a big city, or anytime from 4 p.m. onwards to hit the post-work rush, and aim for 2 or 3 approaches. That's it. And then the rest of the time, work on being self-amusing and playful as a skill set, right? Just bantering with everyone, always say the extra thing, try and make people laugh, try and make people smile, because it's a fun way to live life, and it's the base skill set of flirting, which is playfulness, just without sexual.
Indeed, good stuff. So, in summary, join the free challenge course that we've got open now. The link's going to be open. I'm going to put the link in the chat again now. But basically, it's only going to be open until tomorrow for another 24 hours, and then we're closing it up. It started already, but there's a private Telegram group with us and Les, and we're going to be feeding you with loads of advice and challenge. It's daily challenges, loads of advice, answering all your questions and all that. It's absolutely free. So you would be a fool not to do it, basically. So join up now, and I'll put a link here again. And with that, I suppose that's pretty much it, isn't it?
It is indeed. Pleasure as always.
Indeed. I'm just going to put this link in the chat for these guys. Yeah, it's in the description below as well. So just as soon as you come off this or do it now, just click it open, put in your details, take a couple of seconds, and then you're in. Okay. There we go. All right, guys. Many thanks for tuning in. We'll see you again very soon. Bye-bye.
Nice one. Cheers, guys.